investigation is very important for the future. For the past, maybe it gives some solace to those who have family members or friends who are lost, but it's not going to bring back those lost lives. So if we think about the future, I would wonder if now that you are having greater scrutiny by the FAA, now that you're looking into what caused these problems, now that you're revisiting the ODA, have you discovered any other shortcuts that Boeing or some of the airlines might have taken that we don't know about and haven't caused accidents yet? Mr. Babbitt?
No, the ODA process has been around since the beginning of time and airplanes. I mean, the only pilots I know that didn't go through it were Orville and Wilbur. Everybody else has had to turn over their designs if they wanted things certified. And, you know, the process works. I mean, you simply don't have the manpower to absolutely, watch every piece of design. Boeing has over 40,000 engineers. The FAA has 1,400. And you work hand in hand, and the ODA process is the same in the United States as it is at the EASA, which is the European. So I think, what we need to do, one of the things that it's incumbent upon us now as we move forward with increasing technology is understanding and training pilots to appreciate more and more of the safety envelope is protected by automation, meaning that this is not the only airplane that will help you recover. Captain Sullenberger flew the A320. If that airplane gets too close to a stall, the airplane pushes up its own power. If you get going too fast, it pulls the nose up for you. It does a lot of things, and these are all things to protect the safety envelope, but the pilots need to have absolute training and understanding of what
I understand all that. We've been through all that, but that doesn't answer my question. Have you discovered any other problems that we just haven't made the news because there hasn't been a crash?
No, I think,
that's reassuring.
Obviously, if I knew what those problems might be, I don't anticipate there were any. I think Boeing has done it respectably. They've built wonderful airplanes over the years, and I put in my testimony, I think they made a bad assumption as to what they needed to tell people. They assumed this system was one everyone was familiar with based on similar systems in the aircraft, and they were incorrect.
Okay, thank you. I hope you're right. Thank you.
And Ms. Titus, thank you. I would like to see more FAA oversight of foreign repair stations. This is vital to the future of aviation. More and more aviation maintenance, heavy maintenance, is being outsourced overseas to countries like El Salvador, Brazil, China. As much as we would like to keep these jobs in the United States, and that's certainly our agenda, the economic reality is these maintenance facilities are going overseas, and we'd like to see a very robust oversight of these facilities.
May I comment also to clarify something that Captain Babbitt said? ODA is actually a fairly recent revision of the previous DER system, and one of the major changes in that is that the FAA no longer chooses their designees. They're chosen by the manufacturer. And so, again, the incentives are not aligned as consistently toward public good with those kinds of choices being made and depending upon who their supervisors are.
Would you like to comment, Ms. Nelson?
And I think the rationale behind that was if you have 40,000 engineers, you know who the better ones are, you know ones who should have risen to the management of the projects. The FAA doesn't know these people at all.
Well,
they have oversight of them. And they work in parallel with them. If you've been part of a certification team or certification flights, which I have been, you have an FAA pilot in one seat and you have a Boeing pilot in the other, putting the airplane through the paces. If you look at the records, the FAA has flown the airplane just about as much as the Boeing pilots have in testing.
I appreciate that, but you say you lack the resources to have adequate oversight, and I believe that's true from all I've heard from FAA over the last several years, and there's going to be a tendency by someone who works for a company reviewing what that company's doing to be more positive than somebody who's objective and outside. I mean, that's just a fact. I would ask very quickly, Ms. Pinkerton, some of the airlines are now reconsidering the use of the 787 MAXs. They've ordered thousands of them. Some of them are changing out their whole fleet because they want to keep the same plane, and you understand all the economics of that. Have you heard any of the airlines addressing some reconsideration of this or how they're taking that into account with the grounding of all these planes?
Well, I've certainly seen the reports. Those are commercial decisions that each carrier is going to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Allred, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to first express my deepest condolences to the families of those lost in these two crashes. I extend my condolences to the families who are here and those that are not.